The cheap floor lamp flickers, illuminating our tiny living room in a sickly, jaundiced light. It's the third time this week the power has threatened to quit, a perfect metaphor for my life. I'm running low on everything: sleep, cash, patience, mostly hope. From the next room, a dry, rattling cough cuts through the silence. My daughter, Lily. She's only 3, and her small body is fighting a fever that clings to her like a second skin. I sit on the edge of our lumpy couch, the springs digging into my thighs. My phone feels heavy in my hand, a black mirror reflecting my exhaustion. On the screen is a half-typed message to Mark, my ex. He promised. He swore on everything he had left, which wasn't much, that he'd send money for Lily's medicine, for the rent that's already a week late. The eviction notice on the counter is a crisp white rectangle of dread. My fingers are clumsy with fatigue. I open the payment app, my thumb hovering over Mark's contact photo, a stupid, smiling selfie from a time before he'd hollowed out our lives and left. I type in the amount, a number that feels both impossibly large and pitifully small. $200. In the notes section, my desperation spills out. Lily's fever is worse. Please, Mark, you promised. My thumb taps, request. The screen blinks, confirming the transaction. A wave of something, not relief, but the absence of immediate panic, washes over me. I lean my head back against the frayed fabric of the couch, listening to the city groan outside my window. The rumble of a truck, a distant siren, the sound of Lily stirring in her crib. My phone buzzes on the cushion beside me. That was fast. A flicker of gratitude, so rare it feels foreign, sparks in my chest. Maybe he came through. Maybe this one time he remembered he has a daughter. I pick up the phone. It's not a payment notification. It's a reply. From a contact I don't recognize, just an initial and a last name, J. Thorne. The message is short. A single sentence that makes the air in my lungs turn to ice. I'm not Mark, but I am aware of Lily's fever. I stare at the screen, my heart hammering against my ribs. A mistake, it has to be a mistake. My fingers must have slipped. I scroll through my contacts, my hands shaking. There it is, right next to Mark's name. J. Thorne. I don't know anyone by that name. I've never seen it before in my life. How did it even get there? My phone buzzes again. Another message from the same number. Apartment 4B is drafty. You should put a blanket at the base of her door. A strangled gasp escapes my lips. I look at the door to Lily's room, at the sliver of light underneath. He knows where I live. He knows which room is hers. I scramble off the couch, my bare feet cold against the worn floorboards, and press my eye to the peephole of my front door. The hallway is empty, lit by a single buzzing fluorescent bulb. Nothing. But the feeling of being watched is a physical presence, a weight on my skin. I rush to the window, peering through the grimy glass and past the rusted bars of the fire escape. 4 stories down, the street is slick with a light drizzle. A single black van is parked directly across from my building. It's idling, its engine a low, predatory hum that seems to vibrate up through the soles of my feet. It has no markings. Its windows tinted so dark they look like polished obsidian. My phone buzzes a third time. I flinch, a raw nerve exposed. Mark cannot give you what you need. He took something that belongs to me. The words blur. My mind is racing, trying to connect dots that form a terrifying constellation. Mark. A man I don't know. a black van, my daughter's name, in a stranger's mouth. Mark was always into shady things, small-time scams and get-rich-quick schemes that never panned out. He was a moth drawn to dirty flames. What has he done? What has he dragged us into? I back away from the window, my body trembling. I need to call the police. But what would I say? A man I accidentally texted knows my address. They'd think I was crazy. They wouldn't see the van, wouldn't feel the cold precision in his words. A sharp, authoritative knock echoes from my front door. It's not the loose, rattling knock of a neighbor. It's not the hurried tap of a delivery person. It is solid, patient, inevitable. I stand frozen in the middle of my living room. The phone clutched in my hand like a useless talisman. The knock comes again, louder this time. Lily coughs in her sleep, a small, fragile sound in the face of this overwhelming threat. That sound breaks my paralysis. Everything I do is for her. Every fear I have is for her. I take a deep breath, walk to the door, and slide the chain lock into place. It's a flimsy piece of metal, but it's all I have. I look through the peephole again. A man stands in the hallway. He's tall, dressed in a charcoal suit that seems to absorb the weak light around it. His hair is dark, impeccably styled. His face is sharp angles and shadows. His expression unreadable. He's looking directly at the peephole as if he can feel my eye on him. "Lana," he says. His voice is low, calm, and it travels through the thick wood of the door as if it were paper. "Open the door, we need to talk." My blood runs cold. He knows my name. "Who are you?" My voice is a pathetic tremor. "I'm the man you sent the request to," he says, a hint of dry amusement in his tone. "Julian Thorne. Now unlock the door." The sound of that chain is an insult to us both. I should scream, I should call 911. But my daughter is sleeping in the next room, and this man, this Julian Thorne, feels like a force of nature I cannot hope to outrun. His stillness is more frightening than any overt threat. It speaks of absolute confidence, absolute control. My trembling fingers slide the chain free. The click sounds like a death sentence. I turn the knob and pull the door inward, opening a crack. He doesn't move. He just watches me, his eyes a cool, assessing gray. He's even more imposing up close. The scent of expensive cologne and cold night air drifts into my apartment. He isn't smiling, but the corners of his mouth are turned up just enough to suggest he finds this entire situation predictable. "May I come in?" he asks. But it's not a question, it's a formality. My throat is too tight to speak. I just nod, stepping back as he moves past me into the room. He moves with a silent, fluid grace that is utterly at odds with his size. He doesn't just enter the room, he consumes it. The flickering lamp, the peeling paint, the worn-out furniture, it all seems to shrink in his presence, cowering before the sheer, unapologetic wealth and power he radiates. He stops in the center of the room, his gaze sweeping over everything, missing nothing. He takes in the eviction notice on the counter, the threadbare blanket on the couch, the single, sad-looking teddy bear on the floor. His eyes linger for a moment on the door to Lily's room. "Your ex," he begins, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial quiet, "has a talent for making poor decisions. His most recent one involved $500,000 of my syndicate's money." Syndicate. The word hangs in the air, heavy and poisonous. This is worse than a loan shark. This is something else entirely. Mark, you idiot, what have you done? I don't know anything about that. I lie, my voice barely a whisper. I haven't seen him in months. Julian turns to face me. A cold smile finally touches his lips, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Don't lie to me, Lana. It's tedious. I know he called you 3 days ago from a burner phone. I know he promised you money he doesn't have. He's desperate, and desperate men are predictable. He takes a step closer. I instinctively take a step back, my spine hitting the wall. He's cornered me without even touching me. Here is my offer, he says, his gray eyes pinning me in place. I'm prepared to erase your financial problems. Your rent will be paid. Your daughter will see the best pediatrician in the city. You will be safe, utterly and completely safe. I stare at him, my mind reeling. Safety. It's a word I haven't let myself think about in years. It sounds like a foreign language. What's the catch? I ask, suspicion a bitter taste in my mouth. Men like him don't give gifts. They make investments. No catch, he says smoothly. A transaction. I need Mark. He's slippery and he's gone to ground. But he'll surface for you. For Lily. He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. I need you to call him, set up a meeting. Lure him into the open. My heart plummets. He wants me to be bait. To use my connection to Mark, the father of my child, to lead him into a trap laid by a man who uses the word syndicate as if he's discussing the weather. No, I say, the word stronger than I expect. Absolutely not. I won't. Julian's cold smile vanishes. His expression becomes flat, devoid of all emotion. It's infinitely more terrifying. You seem to be under the impression that you have a choice, he says softly. Let me be clear. Mark's debt is now a danger to you. The people he stole from are not sentimental. They know about you. They know about Lily. He gestures vaguely towards the window, towards the black van still idling by the curb. My presence here, in your apartment, is the only thing keeping them at bay. Right now, I am offering you my protection. If you refuse, I will walk out that door and I will withdraw it. And then you will find out what true desperation looks like. He isn't yelling. He doesn't need to. The threat is woven into the very fabric of his calm, measured tone. He's offering me a cage, but the alternative is being thrown to the wolves. Tears of frustration and fear burn at the back of my eyes. I look towards Lily's room, thinking of her small, warm body, her trusting face. I have no cards to play. My hand is empty. He holds everything. What will you do to him? I whisper. Julian's gaze softens for a fraction of a second. We only want what we are owed. His health is not my primary concern. The chillingly sterile phrase tells me everything I need to know. I feel my fight drain away, replaced by a cold, hard pragmatism. My loyalty to Mark died a long time ago, drowned in a sea of broken promises and empty apologies. My only loyalty is to the little girl sleeping in the next room. And right now, her safety has a price. Okay, I say, the word tasting like ash. I'll do it. A flicker of satisfaction in his eyes. He has won. Of course he has. He never expected to lose. Good, he says. My men will be up in 5 minutes. Pack a bag for you and your daughter. You'll be staying with me until this is over. He doesn't wait for a response. He turns and walks towards the door, his purpose absolute. He's not just taking over the situation, he's taking over my life. Why? I call out, my voice raw. Why are you doing this? You could just, find him. You don't need me. He stops with his hand on the doorknob, his back to me. For a long moment, he is silent. The only sounds are the hum of the refrigerator and the gentle rasp of Lily's breathing from her room. Because, he says, without turning around, Mark's foolishness has made your daughter a liability, and I do not tolerate loose ends. With that, he opens the door and is gone, leaving me alone in the sudden, deafening silence of my apartment. The air still crackles with his presence, still smells of his cologne. I look around at my life, the chipped mugs, the secondhand furniture, the unpaid bills, and realize it's no longer mine. I've just gambled everything I have for my child. And now I have to live in the house of the man holding the dice and pretend I don't feel a terrifying, traitorous part of me, wanting him to stay. True to his word, exactly 5 minutes later, 2 men appear at my door. They are built like brick walls and dressed in the same dark, functional suits as Julian. They don't speak. One of them holds a large duffel bag. The other steps inside and begins to methodically and personally pack a few of Lily's things. Her favorite pajamas, the worn, stuffed elephant she can't sleep without, a handful of picture books. I stand by, numb and useless as they dismantle the tiny life I've built. I move into Lily's room and gently lift her from the crib. Her body is limp with sleep, her head heavy against my shoulder. She smells of baby soap and sickness. Her fever feels hot, even through my sweater. I clutch her to me, a fierce, primal wave of protectiveness washing over me. This is why I'm doing this. This is the only reason that matters. I follow the men out of my apartment, not looking back. The journey down the 4 flights of stairs is a blur. The black van is waiting. Its side door slid open like a gaping mouth. Inside, it's dark and clean and smells of new leather. I slide onto the bench seat, Lily cradled in my lap. The door shuts with a heavy, final thud, plunging us into near darkness and sealing off the world I knew. The van pulls away from the curb with a smooth, powerful surge. I look out the tinted window at my building, my home, shrinking in the distance until it's just another grimy facade in a long line of them. I feel a strange sense of detachment, as if I'm watching a movie of someone else's life. The drive is silent. The men in the front seat don't speak. The city streaks past in a collage of neon and rain. I have no idea where we're going. To a warehouse, a basement. My imagination, fueled by fear, conjures up a dozen horrifying possibilities. But when the van finally slows and descends into a brightly lit underground parking garage, it's clear we are not in some industrial wasteland. We pull into a private spot next to a sleek silver sports car that looks like it belongs in a magazine. One of the men opens my door. "This way, miss." We are led to a private elevator. He presses the top button, PH, with a gloved finger. The elevator ascends with a silent, stomach-lurching speed. There is no sound, just the soft digital chime as we pass each floor. When the doors slide open, they reveal not a hallway, but the entrance to an apartment. No, not an apartment. A different world. The space is vast, cavernous. One entire wall is a sheet of glass, a breathtaking panorama of the city skyline glittering below like a carpet of fallen stars. The floors are polished dark wood. The furniture is minimalist and modern, all clean lines and shades of gray, black, and white. It's less a home and more a museum exhibit on wealth. There is no clutter, no sign of life, no personality. Just space and glass and silence. and Julian Thorne. He stands by the window, a glass of amber liquid in his hand, looking out at the city he seems to own. He turns as we enter, his gray eyes finding mine in the dim light. "Welcome to my home," he says. There's no warmth in the words. It is a statement of fact. One of the men gestures down a long hallway. "The second door on the left. We've prepared the room for you and the child." I nod, my throat tight. I carry Lily down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the oppressive quiet. The room is as large as my entire old apartment. It's dominated by a king-sized bed with crisp white linens. A crib, sleek and modern, has been set up in the corner. A changing table stands beside it, fully stocked with diapers and wipes of a premium brand I could never afford. Everything is perfect. Everything is sterile. Everything has been provided for. I gently lay Lily in the crib. She stirs, murmuring in her sleep but doesn't wake. I pull a soft gray blanket over her, my hands lingering on her small back, reassuring myself that she is here, she is safe, for now. When I turn around, Julian is leaning against the doorframe, watching me. I didn't hear him approach. "Is there anything else you require?" he asks. My freedom. I want to snap, but I bite the words back. Defiance is a luxury I can no longer afford. "She needs her medicine," I say instead, my voice flat. "The prescription is in my bag." He nods. "I've already had it filled. It's on the nightstand." I look over. A small paper bag from a pharmacy sits next to a bottle of water and a glass. He thinks of everything. It's both comforting and deeply unsettling. His control is absolute. "Now," he says, his voice shifting, becoming all business. "We need to discuss the plan for Mark." I wrap my arms around myself, a feeble attempt to ward off the chill that has nothing to do with the room's temperature. The uneasy cohabitation has begun. I am a guest, a prisoner, a pawn in his game. I study his face in the dim light, the hard line of his jaw, the unyielding set of his mouth. He is a monster, I tell myself, a dangerous man who has taken over my life. But then my gaze falls on the new state-of-the-art thermometer sitting next to the pharmacy bag, and I remember the message he sent. You should put a blanket at the base of her door. He had noticed the draft. He had noticed my daughter was cold. And that small, inexplicable act of observation frightens me more than all his power, more than all his threats. It suggests something far more complex and far more dangerous than simple cruelty. It suggests he sees me. He sees us. And I have no idea what he plans to do with what he sees. The next 48 hours pass in a surreal haze. I exist within the quiet, climate-controlled perfection of Julian's penthouse, a ghost in his machine. I move from the bedroom to the kitchen to the vast living room. Lily a warm, constant weight in my arms or toddling at my feet. Julian is a peripheral presence, a shadow at the edge of my vision. He works from a home office with a glass door, and I can see him inside, a silhouette against a bank of glowing monitors. He takes calls in languages I don't understand, his voice a low, commanding murmur. He has food delivered from the city's best restaurants. He doesn't ask what I want. He simply intuits it. A mild chicken soup for Lily, a fresh, crisp salad for me. He leaves a brand new tablet on the coffee table, preloaded with cartoons, and I watch as Lily, her fever slowly receding thanks to the proper medicine, sits mesmerized by dancing colors. Every need is met before I can even articulate it. It's a terrifyingly seductive form of captivity. We don't speak much. Our interactions are brief, functional. He asks about Lily's temperature. I give him a number. He tells me what time dinner will arrive. I nod. The silence between us is a living thing, thick with unspoken questions and simmering tension. I watch him when he doesn't know I'm looking. I study the way he moves, the way he holds his glass, the way his eyes constantly scan his surroundings. He is a man who lives in a state of perpetual vigilance. I am his prisoner, but sometimes watching him in his sterile, silent fortress, I wonder if he is one too. On the third night, the fragile peace shatters. I am jolted from a light, uneasy sleep by a sound that every mother dreads. A choked, gasping cry from the crib. I'm out of bed in an instant, my heart seizing in my chest. Lily is thrashing, her small body rigid, her eyes rolled back in her head. Her skin is on fire. "Lily!" I scream, scooping her into my arms. Her body is convulsing. A febrile seizure brought on by a sudden, terrifying spike in her fever. Panic, cold and absolute, claws at my throat. I don't know what to do. My mind is a blank wall of terror. "Help!" The word is torn from me. A raw, desperate shriek into the silence of the penthouse. "Somebody help me!" My bedroom door flies open so hard it bangs against the wall. Julian is there framed in the doorway. He's not wearing his suit jacket or tie. His white shirt is unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled up to his forearms. He takes in the scene in a single, swift glance. Me, hysterical, clutching my seizing child. His face is a mask of calm focus. All traces of the distant, cold businessman are gone. He moves with a speed and purpose that is breathtaking. "Give her to me," he commands, his voice firm but not unkind. "I don't know what's happening," I sob, unable to let her go. "It's a seizure from the fever," he says, his voice cutting through my panic. "She'll be okay. We need to cool her down. Give her to me, Lana." The sound of my name on his lips, spoken with such authority and strange reassurance, is what does it. I relinquish my hold, and he takes Lily from me. His hands, which I had imagined to be cold and cruel, are surprisingly gentle as he cradles her small, shaking body. "Go to the bathroom. Start a lukewarm bath," he orders as he carries Lily towards the ensuite. "Not cold, lukewarm." I stumble into the cavernous marble bathroom, my shaking hands turning on the faucet. Julian follows, speaking in a low, soothing tone to my daughter, who is still lost in the throes of the seizure. He says her name over and over, a steady mantra in the terrifying chaos. As the tub fills, the convulsions begin to subside. Lily goes limp in his arms, her breathing ragged. Julian sits on the edge of the tub, still fully clothed, and carefully lowers her into the water, never breaking contact. He supports her head, splashing the warm water over her chest and arms. I kneel beside them, my hands hovering uselessly. Tears stream down my face, silent and hot. "She's coming out of it," he says quietly, his eyes fixed on Lily. Her temperature is dropping. He is right, the fierce heat is already starting to recede from her skin. Her eyes flutter open, unfocused and dazed. She lets out a weak, confused cry. "Mama's here, baby," I whisper, my voice thick with tears. I reach out and take her small hand. Julian doesn't move for a long time. He just holds her there in the water, his expensive shirt now soaked through, clinging to the hard muscles of his back and shoulders. He looks down at her, and in that moment, the mask is completely gone. I see something in his face I never would have expected, a deep, aching vulnerability, a flicker of old pain. After a few minutes, he lifts her out of the tub and wraps her in a thick, fluffy towel I grab from the rack. He hands her to me, and I clutch her to my chest, burying my face in the damp warmth of her hair. "I've called my personal doctor," Julian says, his voice low as he stands up, water dripping from his clothes, onto the pristine marble floor. He's on his way. He's discreet. I can only nod, my throat closed with emotion. The doctor arrives within 15 minutes, a quiet, older man with kind eyes who seems entirely unfazed by being summoned to a penthouse in the middle of the night. He examines Lily, who is now sleeping peacefully in my arms, and confirms it was a febrile seizure, frightening but usually harmless. He gives her a dose of a stronger fever reducer and reassures me she will be fine. After he leaves, an exhausted silence descends. Lily is back in her crib, sleeping soundly. Julian has changed into a dry shirt and a pair of dark sweatpants. It's the first time I've seen him in anything other than a suit, and the casual clothes make him seem younger, more approachable, and somehow more dangerous. He finds me in the living room, staring out at the city lights, my arms wrapped tightly around myself. He doesn't turn on the lights. He just comes and stands beside me, a respectful distance between us. "Thank you," I say to the window, unable to look at him. I don't know what I would have done." "You would have done what was necessary," he says simply. "You're a mother." We stand in silence for a long time, the only sound the faint hum of the city below. "Why?" I finally ask. The question I've been holding back since I arrived. "Why are you being like this? You brought the medicine, the doctor, you knew what to do. It's not just about Mark's money, I know that now. There's something else here." He is quiet for so long I think he won't answer. He takes a slow sip from the glass of whiskey that has appeared in his hand. "I had a younger sister," he says finally, his voice flat and devoid of emotion, a stark contrast to the weight of the words. "Her name was Clara." The use of the past tense hangs in the air between us. "When I was 15, she was 6. Our parents were neglectful. We were on our own most of the time. One night, she got sick, a fever, just like Lily's. It kept getting worse." He turns his head, his profile a stark silhouette against the glittering skyline. "I didn't know what to do. I was just a kid. I was scared. I kept thinking it would break on its own. I waited too long to get help." He stops, taking another drink. The silence stretches, heavy and raw. "She had a seizure," he continues, his voice barely a whisper. "By the time the ambulance arrived, it was too late. The infection had gone to her brain." A wave of cold empathy washes over me, so strong it makes me dizzy. I see it now. The little boy, terrified and alone, watching his sister die. The man he became forged in that fire of guilt and helplessness. A man who vowed to never be helpless again. A man who controls everything and everyone because once he had control over nothing. "Julian," I breathe, his name feeling foreign and yet intimate on my tongue. "I'm so sorry." He turns to face me fully, and in the dim light I can see the profound, ancient grief in his eyes. The armor is gone. The cracks have splintered, revealing the wounded man beneath. "I made a promise to myself that night," he says, his voice regaining some of its steel, "that I would never again stand by and watch someone I was responsible for suffer because I was unprepared, When you and your daughter fell into my orbit, you became my responsibility. His gaze is intense, unwavering. It feels like he's looking straight into my soul. He's not just talking about Lily's fever. He's talking about everything. The money, the protection, this gilded cage. It's all part of his penance, his obsessive, controlling, desperate attempt to rewrite the past. He takes a step closer, breaking the fragile space between us. He is so close, I can feel the warmth radiating from his body. He smells of whiskey and soap and something that is just him. My heart is beating a frantic, unsteady rhythm. This is dangerous. He is dangerous. But my fear is being eclipsed by something else, something warm and treacherous and utterly confusing. "You are safe here, Lana," he says, his voice a low murmur. "I will not let anything happen to either of you." And the most terrifying part is, I believe him. In the days that follow Lily's seizure, the atmosphere in the penthouse shifts. The invisible walls between us have become porous. The tension is still there, a constant hum beneath the surface, but it's changed. It's no longer the sharp, cold tension of prisoner and captor. It's something else, something warmer, heavier, and infinitely more complicated. We talk more, not about Mark, not about the plan. We talk about small things. He asks me about the books I like to read. I learn he speaks 4 languages and has a surprising fondness for old black and white films. One afternoon, while Lily naps, I find him in the living room watching Casablanca. I sit on the other end of the long sofa and watch with him. We don't speak, but the shared silence feels comfortable, companionable. He is still a man of immense control and rigid habits. But I start to see the person underneath. I see the way his brow furrows in concentration when he's on a difficult call. I see the ghost of a smile on his lips when he watches Lily chase a sunbeam across the floor. He is an enigma, a man of brutal power and startling tenderness, a monster who gently held my daughter's hand through a fever. My fear of him is slowly, insidiously being replaced by a bewildering fascination and a terrifying attraction. I find my eyes drawn to him when he moves across a room, to the strength in his hands, the intensity in his gaze. I am acutely aware of him, of his proximity, in a way that sets my nerves on fire. One evening, after I've put Lily to bed, I wander out into the living room. The city lights are a mesmerizing, endless river of gold and silver. I feel so small, so lost. A tiny, insignificant speck in this vast, glittering world he commands. The weight of my situation, the choice I have to make, presses down on me. I am here to betray my daughter's father to save her. It's a devil's bargain, and I can feel it starting to corrode my soul. I lean my forehead against the cool glass of the window, closing my eyes. A difficult view to get used to. His voice close behind me makes me jump. I turn to find him standing just a few feet away, holding 2 glasses of wine. He's shed his suit jacket, and the white of his shirt is stark in the moonlight. "It makes you feel like you could fall forever," I whisper. "Or that you're on top of the world," he counters, his voice a low rumble. "It's all a matter of perspective." He holds out a glass to me. "I thought you might like one." I hesitate, then take it. Our fingers brush for a fraction of a second, and a jolt of electricity shoots up my arm. I quickly take a sip of the wine. It's rich and smooth, better than anything I've ever tasted. "Tell me about your life before this," he says, his voice soft. He gestures vaguely, encompassing my past, Mark, the struggle. Before you had to worry about things like rent and fevers, the question surprises me. No one has asked me that in years. I had become so defined by my current circumstances, single mom, broke, desperate, that I had almost forgotten the girl I used to be. I was studying to be a landscape architect, I say, the words feeling rusty. I wanted to design parks, public spaces, places where people could just breathe. I look out at the concrete and steel jungle below. I guess I've always been drawn to creating small pockets of peace in the middle of chaos. What happened? He asked gently. Mark happened, I say with a wry, humorless laugh. Then Lily happened. My chaos just got bigger, and my pockets of peace got smaller. I take another sip of wine. I don't regret Lily. Not for a second. She's the best part of my life, but I regret the dreams I gave up along the way. I've said too much. I've exposed a part of myself, a vulnerability. I brace myself for his judgment, for his dismissal. But he just watches me, his gray eyes thoughtful. Dreams can be rediscovered, he says quietly. Sometimes they just need a safer place to grow. The intimacy of the conversation, the way he's looking at me, it's overwhelming. The air between us is thick, charged. He takes a step closer and my breath catches in my throat. We are standing inches apart, cocooned in the darkness with the city lights as our only witness. You are not just a mother, Lana, he murmurs, his voice so low it's almost a vibration in my chest. You are not just a pawn in this game with Mark. I see you. He reaches out, his movements slow, deliberate, giving me every chance to pull away. His fingers gently trace the line of my jaw, his thumb stroking my cheek. His touch is electric, sending a shiver through my entire body. I should step back. I should run. This is madness. This is the man who is holding my life in his hands. He is my captor. But I don't move. I can't. I lean into his touch, my eyes fluttering shut. Julian, I whisper, a plea and a warning all in one. His other hand comes up to cut my face, his fingers tangling in my hair. He tilts my head up, and I open my eyes. His face is so close now, his expression intense, searching. The cool, controlled mask is gone, replaced by a raw, naked hunger that mirrors my own. Tell me to stop, he breathes, his lips hovering just above mine. I can't. The words won't come. I want this. God help me. I want this. He closes the distance between us, and his mouth captures mine. The kiss is not gentle. It's a collision. It's all the unspoken tension, the fear, the fascination, the desperation of the past few days erupting in a single, searing moment. It is fierce and demanding. A kiss that seeks to own, to consume. But underneath the raw power, there is a tremor of desperation, a deep, aching loneliness that calls to my own. I kiss him back with a ferocity that surprises me, my hands coming up to grip his shirt. I pour all my frustration, my fear, my suffocating loneliness into it. For a single breathless moment, I'm not a victim. I'm not a mother struggling to survive. I'm just a woman, and he is just a man. And we are two broken, solitary souls crashing into each other in the dark. When he finally breaks the kiss, we are both breathless, our chests rising and falling in ragged unison. He rests his forehead against mine, his eyes closed. This changes nothing, he says, his voice rough. The deal still stands. I know, I whisper, though my heart is hammering a frantic, traitorous rhythm against my ribs. But we are both lying. After that kiss, everything has changed. The lines have been blurred. The roles of captor and captive dissolved into something far more intimate and dangerous. The pretense of our arrangement is now a fragile, transparent veil over the truth. We have crossed a line from which there is no return. I am no longer just afraid of him. I am afraid of what I feel for him. And I am terrified that this fragile, burgeoning hope is just another beautiful cage. The days after the kiss are a study in exquisite tension. The deal we made, my freedom for Mark's capture, is a constant, unspoken presence, the ghost at our strange domestic table. But it feels increasingly like an excuse, a flimsy framework we've built around the raw, undeniable thing that is growing between us. Julian doesn't push me. He doesn't try to kiss me again. Instead, his attention becomes a quiet, constant current in my life. He starts leaving books on my nightstand, volumes on landscape architecture, collections of poetry. He seeks out my opinion on a new piece of art he's considering for the living room wall. He asks me to cook for him one night, and when I hesitantly prepare a simple pasta dish from my memory of home, he eats it with a quiet reverence that feels more intimate than any touch. I find myself watching him, learning the landscape of him, the way a small muscle in his jaw tightens when he's stressed, the way his eyes, so often cold and gray, can warm to the color of a stormy sea when he's looking at Lily. He is still a dangerous man, a king in a ruthless world. I never forget that. But I also see Julian, the man who listens to classical music while he works, the man who knows the name of every star visible from his window, the man who carries a profound and secret grief. I begin to feel safe. It's a terrifying admission. It's not just the physical safety of his fortress penthouse, but a deeper, more elemental sense of security. With Julian, the constant grinding anxiety that has been my companion for years begins to recede. For the first time since Lily was born, I feel like I can breathe, like someone else is standing guard. This feeling of safety makes me reckless. It makes me hope. And hope is the most dangerous thing of all. One rainy afternoon, Julian announces he has to go out for a few hours. It's the first time he's left me and Lily alone in the penthouse. His security detail remains, of course, stationed discreetly outside the elevator. But his personal presence is gone, and the apartment feels vast and empty without him. "Do not open the door for anyone," he says, his hand on the doorknob. His gaze is intense, his jaw set. "My men will handle everything." "We'll be fine," I say, trying for a lightness I don't feel. He hesitates, then reaches out and brushes a stray strand of hair from my cheek. The casual intimacy of the gesture makes my heart skip a beat. "I will be back before she wakes up from her nap," he says, his eyes flicking towards Lily's room. It's a promise. While he's gone, an overwhelming restlessness takes hold of me. I am a bird in a gilded cage, and the bars have never felt more real. On impulse, I wander into his office. It's the one room I haven't entered. It feels like a violation, a trespass into the heart of his power. The room is as immaculate as the rest of the apartment. A large mahogany desk dominates the space, its surface clear except for a sleek laptop and a single leather-bound journal. My eyes are drawn to it. I know I shouldn't. It's an invasion of his privacy, a betrayal of the fragile trust we've built. But I'm desperate for answers. desperate to understand the man who has so completely upended my life. My fingers tremble as I reach out and open the journal. The handwriting is sharp, precise, and angular, like the man himself. The entries are not dated. They are more like observations, fragments of thought. Most of it is about business, coded references to shipments and accounts. But then I find a section that is different. My name is there, Lana. My breath catches. I read on, my heart pounding. Subject EM and child LM are a complication. Mark Mason's final, desperate attachment. Leverage must be controlled. My blood runs cold. Subject EM. He was studying me. I wasn't a person to him, just a subject. A piece on his chessboard. I flip the page, my hands shaking. The entry is more recent. The asset has proven more resilient than anticipated. Her maternal instincts are a predictable but powerful motivator. However, an unexpected emotional attachment is forming. This is a liability. The child is a potential weak point. The arrangement must proceed as planned. Once Mason is secured, the asset and her offspring are to be relocated. A trust will be established. Clean break. No loose ends. A strangled sob escapes my lips. The words blur through my tears. Asset. Offspring. Relocated. The kindness. The conversations. The shared moments. That kiss. It was all a lie. A calculated manipulation to ensure my compliance. I am a tool to be used and then discarded. He was never going to let me stay. He was never going to be a part of our lives. He was just going to pay me off and send me away. A clean break, no loose ends. The safety I felt, the hope that had started to bloom in my chest, it all turns to ash. I was a fool. A stupid, desperate fool who wanted to believe in a fairy tale. I mistook the calculated kindness of a predator for genuine care. I slam the journal shut just as I hear the chime of the private elevator. He's back. I race out of his office, my mind reeling, my heart shattered. I need to compose myself. I cannot let him see. If he knows I know the truth, I don't know what he'll do. The mask of the kind protector has fallen, and all I can see now is the ruthless strategist who called my daughter an offspring. When he walks in, I'm sitting on the couch, pretending to read a magazine. I can feel his eyes on me, but I don't look up. "Everything all right?" he asks, his voice holding that same quiet concern that I now know is a lie. "Fine," I say, my voice tight. "Lily is still sleeping." He comes closer and I can smell the rain on his coat. He loosens his tie, the picture of a man coming home. The domesticity of it makes me sick. "We need to make the call to Mark tomorrow," he says. "It's time." I finally look up at him, schooling my features into a neutral mask. But my eyes must betray me because his brow furrows slightly. "What is it, Lana?" "Nothing," I lie. "Just nervous about the call." He accepts it for now, but I know he is watching me. He is assessing me, the subject, the asset. That night, I can't sleep. I lie in bed, staring into the darkness, the hateful words from his journal seared into my brain. The plan is still the same, but my role in it has changed. Before, I was a reluctant participant. Now, I am an actor. I have to play the part of the compliant woman falling for her captor, all while my heart is breaking and my mind is screaming for escape. I have to lure Mark into his trap. But now I know that as soon as I do, my own trap will spring. Julian will send me away. He will cut me and Lily out of his life as cleanly and efficiently as he does everything else. And the most painful, twisted part of it all is that a part of me, a foolish, traitorous part of me, doesn't want to go. The next morning, the air is thick with a palpable tension. Julian briefs me on the call. What to say, how to sound. He wants me to be emotional, desperate to convince Mark that I'm at my breaking point and need to see him. It's a sickening parody of my actual feelings. I don't have to act. The desperation is real. Julian hands me a new, untraceable phone. Mark's number is already on the screen. He'll be suspicious, Julian says, his voice all business. He'll think it's a trap. Your job is to convince him it's not. My hand is shaking as I press the call button. I look at Julian, who stands across the room, watching me with an unreadable expression. All I can see is the man who called me an asset. The anger gives me a strange, cold strength. The phone rings once, twice. Then a click. Lana! Mark's voice is ragged, paranoid. Mark, I say, letting a tremor enter my voice. I need your help. We need your help. Where are you? Are you okay? No, I'm not okay, I say, the tears coming easily now, hot and real. The landlord is kicking us out. Lily is sick. I have nothing, Mark, nothing. You promised you would help. I can hear him breathing on the other end of the line. I know, baby, I know. I'm working on it. I just need a little more time. There is no more time, I cry, letting the hysteria rise. I need to see you, please. I just need to know you're okay, that we're going to be okay. This is the part Julian coached me on, the emotional hook. Mark's ego was always his weakness. I can't, Lana. It's not safe. I don't care about safe, I shout. I care about my daughter having a place to sleep. Please, Mark, meet me. There's a long pause. I hold my breath, my eyes locked on Julian. He gives me a subtle, almost imperceptible nod. Okay, Mark says finally, his voice low. Okay, but on my terms. No one else. Just you. Just me, I promise, the lie tasting like poison. He names a place. Not a dark alley or an abandoned warehouse. A place that's public, crowded, chaotic. The City Children's Museum, tomorrow, at noon. And Lana, he adds, his voice dropping to a near whisper, bring Lily. I need to see my girl, and I need to know you're not a hostage. My blood turns to ice. It's a test, a trap within a trap. He wants to use our daughter as his insurance policy. Okay, Mark, I whisper, we'll be there. I hang up, my whole body trembling. He wants me to bring Lily, I say to Julian, my voice flat. Julian's face hardens. For a fleeting second, I see a flash of raw fury in his eyes. The protective instinct he has for Lily is real, even if his feelings for me are a fabrication. He's using his own child as a shield. Pathetic. He paces the room, a caged tiger. This complicates things, but it doesn't change the outcome. We'll go. My men will be everywhere. I'll be there. You won't be alone. He stops in front of me, his expression softening as he looks down at me. He reaches out as if to comfort me, to touch my arm. I flinch and take a step back. The hurt that flashes in his eyes is so genuine, so swift, that it almost makes me doubt what I read. But I can't. I won't be a fool again. I'm fine, I say coldly. It's just a transaction, right? Let's just get it over with. I use his own businesslike language against him, and I see it hit its mark. He withdraws his hand, his face closing off, the mask of the cool, controlled commander snapping back into place. As you wish, he says, his voice clipped. Be ready tomorrow at 11. He turns and walks back to his office, leaving me alone with the terrifying knowledge that I'm about to walk into the lion's den, and I'm no longer sure which of the lions I should fear more: the desperate, cornered one I'm meeting, or the cold, calculating one who is holding my leash. The next morning, the penthouse is a hub of quiet, tense activity. Julian's men move with silent efficiency, speaking into hidden microphones in their cuffs. Julian himself is dressed down in dark jeans and a gray Henley that stretches across his broad chest. It's a costume designed to make him blend in with the museum crowds. But there is nothing ordinary about him. He moves with the coiled energy of a predator, his eyes missing nothing. I dress Lily in a bright yellow dress, a splash of sunshine, in a day filled with shadows. I am numb, moving on autopilot. I have to trust Julian's plan, trust his men, trust that he will keep Lily safe. Even if it's only because she's a loose end he needs to tie up. We travel in an unassuming sedan, not the black van. Julian drives, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. I sit in the back with Lily in her car seat, chattering happily about seeing the dinosaur bones. Her innocence is a sharp, painful knife in my heart. When we get inside, you will act normally, Julian instructs, his eyes meeting mine in the rearview mirror. Stay in the main hall by the fossil exhibit, he'll find you. I will be close by. My men will be on every exit. The moment you hand over the signal, we move in. The signal. A simple, innocuous phrase. It's getting late, we should go. The moment I say it, the trap will spring. What if he tries something? I ask, my voice thin. What if he tries to take her? He won't get that far, Julian says, and the absolute certainty in his voice is the only thing keeping my panic at bay. The museum is a cacophony of noise and color. Children are screaming, laughing, running everywhere. It's a chaotic, perfect camouflage. I take Lily out of her stroller and let her hold my hand, her small fingers wrapped tightly around mine. I can feel Julian's presence behind us, a steady, watchful shadow. We make our way to the dinosaur exhibit as planned. A massive T-Rex skeleton looms over us, its fossilized jaws open in a silent roar. Lily stares up at it in awe. I scan the crowd, my heart hammering against my ribs. Every man who vaguely resembles Mark sends a jolt of adrenaline through me. Then I see him. He's standing near the entrance to the gift shop, trying to look casual, but he's a live wire of nervous energy. He's thinner than I remember, his face gaunt, his eyes darting around constantly. The charming, irresponsible boy I once loved is gone, replaced by a desperate, haunted man. He spots us and starts moving towards us, weaving through a crowd of schoolchildren. My hand tightens on Lily's. "Mama, look," Lily says, pointing at the T-Rex. "I see it, sweetie," I say, my voice trembling. Mark reaches us. He ignores me completely, his eyes fixed on Lily. "Hey, princess," he says, forcing a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "You got so big." Lily hides behind my leg, shy and uncertain. "Lana," he says, his eyes finally meeting mine. They are filled with suspicion. "You came alone?" "I told you I would," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "Good," he says, but he's still scanning the crowd over my shoulder. "We need to talk." "Not here." He jerks his head towards a side exhibit, World of Water, which looks less crowded. This isn't the plan. We were supposed to stay in the main hall. I look around, trying to catch Julian's eye, but I can't see him. Mark, let's just stay here, I plead. No, he snaps, his paranoia flaring. There, now. He reaches down and scoops Lily up into his arms before I can react. Come on, princess, let's go see the fishies. Lily, startled, begins to cry. My blood runs cold. He's using her. He's taking her. Mark, put her down, I hiss, following him as he walks quickly towards the other exhibit. He ignores me. We enter the World of Water exhibit. It's dark, illuminated by the blue glow of large aquariums. It's also nearly empty. My heart plummets. We're isolated. What do you want, Mark? I demand, my voice shaking with rage and fear. The money I'm owed, he says, turning to face me, holding Lily tight against his chest. She's sobbing now, reaching for me. These people I got involved with, they're not messing around, Lana. They're connected to Thorn. He knows this is about Julian. I don't know what you're talking about, I lie. Don't play dumb, he snarls. I know they have you. I saw the van outside your building for days. This is a setup, isn't it? Before I can answer, he suddenly grabs my arm, his fingers digging into my flesh like talons. He yanks me forward, pushing me and a crying Lily towards a back door marked staff only. We're leaving, he says, his eyes wild. You and Lily are my ticket out of here. This is it. The plan has gone completely sideways. He's taking us. Pure, primal instinct takes over. I can't scream, it would cause a panic, and he might hurt Lily. I need to give the signal. Mark, please, I sob, looking him in the eye. It's getting late. We should go. I put as much meaning, as much desperation into the words as I can, praying Julian or one of his men can hear me. Mark just laughs, a harsh, ugly sound. We're going all right. He fumbles with the door handle. In that split second of distraction, I act. I stomp down on his foot as hard as I can with my heel. He cries out in pain, his grip on me loosening for a fraction of a second. It's all I need. I wrench my arm free and shove him hard against the wall. He stumbles, but his grip on Lily is still tight. You bitch, he screams. Just as he lunges for me, the staff-only door is kicked open from the other side. It flies inward, hitting Mark squarely in the shoulder. He staggers back, finally losing his grip on Lily. I dive forward, catching her before she hits the ground, pulling her into my arms and scrambling back. Julian fills the doorway. He is no longer a man in disguise. He is fury incarnate. His face is a terrifying mask of cold rage, his eyes promising a world of pain. Two of his men file in behind him, blocking the exit. Mark stares at him, his face pale with terror. Thorn, he whispers. Mason, Julian says, his voice a low, lethal growl. He takes a step into the room, and Mark flinches as if he's been struck. You made two mistakes. The first was stealing from me. The second, his eyes flick to me, clutching a sobbing Lily, was touching them. Julian doesn't even look at his men. He just gives a slight, sharp jerk of his head. They move in on Mark, who doesn't even try to fight back. They haul him to his feet, his face a mask of pure, abject terror. I am huddled on the floor, shielding Lily with my body, my own heart pounding with the aftermath of adrenaline. Julian walks over to us. He kneels down in front of me, his movements slow, gentle. His face, which was so full of rage just a moment before, is now etched with concern. Are you hurt? He asks, his voice soft. He's speaking to me, but his eyes are on Lily, who is crying into my shoulder. I shake my head, unable to speak. He reaches out not to me but to Lily. He gently strokes her hair, his large hand surprisingly tender. "It's okay, little one," he murmurs. "You're safe now. The monster is gone." His men drag a whimpering Mark out of the room. The threat is over. The deal is done. Julian helps me to my feet, his hands warm and steady on my arms. We are standing close, the sounds of the museum filtering back in, a world away. He looks down at me, his gray eyes searching my face. I'm still trembling, clutching my daughter as if she's the only thing anchoring me to the earth. I have done what he asked. I have delivered Mark to him. The transaction is complete, and all I can think of are the words from his journal. Clean break. No loose ends. The ride back to the penthouse is silent. Lily, exhausted from the crying and the fear, has fallen asleep in her car seat. I stare out the window, watching the city pass by in a blur, my mind a chaotic whirl. The deal is over. The external threat is gone. Now all that's left is the resolution between me and Julian, the final, painful transaction. When we get back upstairs, the silence of the apartment is deafening. I carry a sleeping Lily to her room and lay her in her crib, pulling the blanket up to her chin. I stand there for a long time, just watching her breathe, memorizing the peaceful look on her small face. This is the last time she will sleep in this room. Tomorrow, we will be gone. The thought is a physical ache in my chest. When I finally emerge, Julian is waiting for me in the living room. He stands by the window, a dark silhouette against the setting sun, which paints the sky in fiery streaks of orange and purple. On the black marble coffee table sits a sleek, silver briefcase. My heart sinks. This is it, the payoff. "He's been dealt with," Julian says, his back still to me. "He will not bother you again. My organization has a long reach. He will be relocated permanently." The cold finality of his words sends a shiver down my spine. I don't ask for details. I don't want to know. Mark made his choices, and they led him here. My only concern now is my daughter. And God help me, the man standing in front of me. "You upheld your end of the bargain," he continues, finally turning to face me. His face is unreadable, his eyes guarded. The mask is firmly back in place. "And I will uphold mine." He gestures to the briefcase. "There is enough in there for you and Lily to start over. Anywhere you want to go. A new city, a new life. There is also a deed to a house in a quiet town upstate, and the keys to a car in the garage downstairs. Everything is in your name. It's all clean, untraceable." He kept his word. He is giving me everything he promised. An escape, a future free from financial worry, safety. It's everything I thought I wanted. So, why does it feel like a punishment? "You'll be free," he says, and the word sounds hollow, empty. I look from the briefcase to his face, searching for any crack in his composure, any sign of the man who held my daughter through a seizure, who kissed me with such desperate passion. But he is gone, replaced by the cool, efficient Jay Thorne. This is my moment of choice. I can take the money and run. I can go back to a life that is my own, even if it's a lonely one. I can be the resilient, independent woman I always thought I was. Or I can choose this complicated, dangerous, beautiful, terrifying man. I think of his journal. Asset, offspring, clean break. The words should fuel my anger, should make me snatch up that case and walk out without a backward glance. But I also think of the look on his face when Mark grabbed Lily, the raw, unguarded fury, the tender way he soothed her afterward, the story of his sister, Clara. His journal was his logic. His actions were his heart. And I have to decide which one I believe. I walk slowly towards the coffee table, my footsteps echoing in the silent room. I stop in front of the briefcase, a silver symbol of my freedom. I place my hand on its cool metal surface. Julian watches my every move, his expression unchanging. Then I push it away. I slide it across the smooth marble table away from me towards him. "This isn't what I want," I say, my voice quiet but firm. For the first time, a flicker of emotion crosses his face. Surprise, confusion. He stares at the briefcase, then back at me, his brow furrowed. "I don't understand. This is the deal. This is what we agreed to." "The deal is over," I say, taking a step towards him. "You don't owe me anything, Julian." I use his name and I see him flinch, just slightly. "You kept Lily safe. You kept me safe. That's all I ever really wanted." I'm standing in front of him now, close enough to see the conflict raging in his gray eyes. "I read your journal," I confess, the words tumbling out. "I went into your office. I know what you wrote about me being an asset, about a clean break." His face hardens, a muscle twitching in his jaw. He looks away towards the window. "Then you know this is for the best. I'm not a good man, Lana. My world is violent and dangerous. It is no place for you or your daughter." "That's not your decision to make," I say, my voice rising with a strength I didn't know I possessed. "You don't get to decide what's best for me. I do. You built this fortress around yourself to keep the world out, to keep from ever feeling helpless again. I understand that. But you're not just keeping the danger out, Julian. You're keeping the light out, too." I reach out and place my hand on his chest, right over his heart. I can feel it beating, a strong, steady rhythm beneath my palm. "I'm not afraid of your world. The only thing I'm afraid of is a life without you in it." Tears are streaming down my face now, but they are not tears of sadness. They are tears of defiance, of hope, of a love so powerful it terrifies me. He looks down at my hand on his chest, then up at my face. The mask finally, completely shatters. The pain, the longing, the vulnerability he keeps so carefully hidden is all there, raw and exposed in his eyes. "Lana," he breathes, his voice thick with an emotion I can't name. "I choose to stay," I whisper, "if you'll have me." He lets out a shuddering breath, a sound that seems torn from the very depths of his soul. Then his arms come around me, pulling me against him in a fierce, desperate embrace. He buries his face in my hair, holding me so tightly, it feels like he's trying to merge our two bodies into one. "I don't deserve you," he murmurs against my skin, "but I'm selfish enough to keep you." He pulls back just enough to look at me, his hands framing my face. "There will be no more deals," he says, his voice raw with promise. "No more transactions. Just this, just us." He lowers his head and kisses me. It's not like the first time, not a collision of desperation and loneliness. This kiss is a vow. It is tender and deep, a promise of a new beginning, a new pact freely chosen. It is the feeling of coming home, as the sun dips below the horizon, bathing the room in a soft golden light. I know that my life will never be simple. It will be fraught with dangers I can't yet imagine. But as I stand here, wrapped in the arms of this complicated, broken, beautiful man, I feel something I haven't felt in a very long time. I don't just feel safe, I feel loved. And for the first time, I am not just a survivor, I am a partner. And together, we will build our own small pocket of peace in the middle of all the chaos.